Huh.
I think we're recording on our end.
Yeah, I
Let
got
me
it.
look.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you. All right, so I'll get started with your character. So, he's a very haunted character throughout the movie, both emotionally and sort of literally. So, what sort of initially drew you to this role since it's such a intense part?
Yeah, I think honestly, the fact that it was a three-hander told by two people, so that Vicky and I play the same third character together. I'd never heard of that before. I
Hmm.
also just thought that it was important to tell a story about domestic violence and violence against children as well. Like, I think that's a very important, um, there's a very important message at the end of the film, which is about breaking free of this toxic cycle of abuse, right? It sort of exceeds the whole supernatural sort of concept of the movie. So those were two things, and then the third thing was the director's vision was just so clear and specific, right? Like he's definitely an auteur filmmaker, and he had everything laid out when I, even before we long before we started shooting the movie, in terms of his vision for the film. And because it's kind of a gothic brutalist kind of style of movie, he had that all planned out, the location, everything. So I was like, in every way, shape, and form, this is the kind of movie I.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you mentioned, you are playing this third character, which is kind of unheard of. But both you and Vicky have different sort of approaches to how you play, or we get to see
Yeah,
different sides of her. So, what were the
yeah.
conversations like with between you and Vicky about your portrayals, and how did you want to kind of approach Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think, look, our thing was, like I said before, we didn't perceive the movie as a supernatural film. We perceive it as a movie where two people create their abuser in order to deal with their trauma. And because of that, our versions of Elizabeth didn't need to be the same because there's no hair, makeup, prosthetic element, right? It's not about like, I'll do my performance the same as Vicky does her performance. It's about embodying the trauma that that person had left on you, so that the person watching the movie believes it, that the abuser is inside all of us if we have been through that kind of process, or you moment in our life. So because of that, we had rehearsed Jack and Jill individually a lot, but hadn't rehearsed Elizabeth a lot, if that makes sense.
Hmm. And then you also have like really strong chemistry with Vicky. So, like, what was the sort of process of finding that together? Because you do share a lot of very intense scenes.
Yeah, well, I actually, it was in contrast to chemistry, I guess is a word. We actually didn't really speak much. We saved all of the energy and intensity for when we were shooting a scene. So as soon as we would stop a scene, we would go our separate ways and we wouldn't talk for the whole duration of the project, which make the time when we are on screen together really intense because we're savoring that energy, right? That chemistry, as you call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as you know, as the movie goes on, we do get to see, like you mentioned, that Elizabeth goes is very possessive, very manipulative. What were you
Yes.
like? What was kind of from your vantage point? Like, what did you hope like the film could get across about like these stuff you mentioned, domestic violence, child abuse, and all that stuff?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I just hope that it showed people that you can break free of the cycle, like I said. Like that's what I hope people get out of it. And that's why I'm so excited for it to come out in cinemas next week, to be seen by a broader audience beyond just a film festival audience is so exciting to me, and it's a divisive film. Not everyone's going to like it, but the people that do connect with it, I hope they find some solace in a future beyond just being crippled by trauma.
Yeah, yeah. And like since there's a lot of movie that it's very silent, a lot of the emotion you have to convey is with your expressions and your intensity. So was that sort of a challenge for you as an actor just to get into that kind of headspace, that sort of emotional, vulnerable space?
Not really, because we'd done so much rehearsal, and the house itself where we were shooting was in the middle of nowhere. It was kind of creepy and intense anyway. Like there was a lot of intensity in the space. So it helped to kind of get you into the headspace, I guess, straight away, because you never left that headspace. It was just you're in the middle of nowhere shooting in it. It's like The Shining, right? Like you're
Yeah.
shooting in this house in the middle of nowhere. It's super intense.
Yeah, and then and speaking of intense, like I read a little bit about how you guys were shooting in New Zealand, and I think the weather sort of just attributes to sort of the intensity. So what was that for?
100%.
It's like,
It was blowing a gale, smashing against the house, rain, lightning, thunder, the whole thing. It's terrifying. You're in this house, and like you're not on a soundstage in a film studio. You're literally living the thing in the house. All of it's in the house. There's no build. There's no set build. And because of that, it added to the intensity of it all.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then um Samuel, he keeps such this like unique specific tone. Like it doesn't feel like a horror movie. There is supernatural possession, obviously, but how does his direction sort of push you into, or like what was just like working with him as a like this new sort
He
of director?
he Yeah, I mean, he just puts all of himself in it. Like if we're crying in front of camera, he's crying behind camera. If we're laughing, he's laughing. Like he's living the thing. I've never seen a director put so much of their own self. Because not every director does that, right? They're behind the camera, they've written the thing, or maybe they haven't written the thing and they're kind of not. They could be, let's just put it this way, they could be less involved, right? Whereas Samuel was front and center, living what we were living, experiencing what we were experiencing every day, which is special and unique for a director actor relationship.
Yeah, I mean you can feel it through the screen. And then you also have Um, it's very like there's so many intense like there's this one scene I think when you're in the bathtub and it just feels like I mean it feels like it goes on because it
Mhm.
feels a little very claustrophobic. Was that among the more like taxing days that you had to shoot, or was there a specific day that sticks out to you about like what was very intense to shoot?
It was all 150% the most intense thing I've ever done in my life. But at the same time, I felt like the intensity of shooting outside added to it because it was so cold in New Zealand that it felt we were already emotionally taxed. So it felt like we were physically taxed as well, more out in the cold and the elements because it was the middle of winter in New Zealand. It was freezing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you do play like an intense role, the film premiered last year at Toronto. So like
Yeah.
what as an actor, like what sort of piques your interest of like your next kind of role? I know you have a movie coming out soon. What's the kind of roles you look to like after you finish a movie like this?
I think roles that are like kind of it push me beyond what I thought I was capable of in terms of characterization, performance, prep, all that sort of stuff. And this went up the hill. I knew would push me more than anything because I've never played a second role with another actor before. That's like nuts. And then my next film pushed me in a different way because I play like someone 25 years older than myself, someone who really existed. There's so many layers and levels to that add a level of intensity and pressure that I really want at this point in my career.
Yeah. And you like I remember the day, yeah, honestly, when you were casting Power Rangers, like it's almost been 8 years, I think. So was
Yeah.
that like looking back at that, is that something, do you remember the actor you were then and like how your evolution has to this day? And sort of I don't know, like what would you just tell your younger self kind of like to where the point you are now?
I think just like keep pushing myself, keep pushing boundaries, keep looking for a really genuine connection with roles and directors and characters and all that sort of stuff. That's all I've intended to do over the last 8, 9 years is push myself further than what I did before. And that's the like to discover more about myself and the evolution of my process. And that's what I want to continue to do over the next 8, 9 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have like, I guess well, what would you sort of say is like the biggest takeaway that you walk away from this film particularly because of the amount you were able to push yourself, what you're able to see that what you are capable of as an actor, and like it's like now I can tackle something that I didn't think I was previously.
Totally. Yeah. Well, so I'm directing my first film in a couple of months, and this
Mhm.
film probably showed me that I am driven and ambitious enough to tackle that. Because after it went up the hill, I feel like anything's possible because that was the hardest and best shoot and the most taxing and all these sorts of things. So I think more than anything, it's just showed me I can push myself more, if
Yeah,
that makes
no,
sense.
yeah, no, that's totally really cool. So when you're talking about this film you're about to direct, are you allowed to tell us anything about it yet, or are you holding those details?
There's a little bit online just in terms of the log line. Four people go away to celebrate a momentous the engagement party of one of the couples, and a secret comes out. Something that happened between the other husband and the other wife 10 years prior when they were at college together. That's kind of the public sort of statement log line that we've released. But it's a chamber piece. It's similar to Went Up the Hill. It's like a play. It's all set in one location over 2 story days. and it's similarly intense. It's actually by the same screenwriter, Jory Annis, who wrote Went Up the Hill, also wrote the film directing.
Oh,
And the
very
name of
cool.
it's the Engagement Party. Yeah,
Okay, awesome. And I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to ask you since you're awesome on I loved you as Jason, but you also are great on as Billy on Stranger Things. It has with
thanks.
season 5 coming out this fall,
Yeah.
it has what's sort of that legacy mean to you? Because since that was a huge breakout role for you as well, and it's like, is there anything you're allowed to tease, or it's like, are you, I'm sure you're not going to give away any spoilers, but if you had the opportunity to return for season 5, is what would you have? I don't know. You can. There's like, what's that sort of? What's the role
Yeah,
of Billy
totally.
mean to you?
I've been saying, well, the role Billy means a huge amount to me. I loved it. It was an extremely formative period of my life and my career. But I think more than anything, I've been saying to people, like, I'm really excited for the creators, the Duffer Brothers, for Stranger Things to be over so that they can do all these other amazing ideas that I know that they have for shows and movies that they haven't had the bandwidth to do. So more than anything, I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to see their next progression beyond Stranger Things. That's really exciting because there's so many things they've been wanting to do for like the past 10, 12, 13 years that they haven't had the time to. So I'm really excited to see that come to life.
Yeah, no, it's such a huge commitment, 10 years making this one show. But yeah, my fiance is such a huge fan, so I had to get a
Yeah.
Stranger
So,
question things question
no,
in.
of
But
course. No, no.
it,
It's nice to chat to you. I appreciate all of your questions today.
yeah, no, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Dacre.
Awesome. Take care of yourself. See you
You too.
later.
See you.